Well, here's a new video. I was going to talk about GPS, but I'm going to have a little additional feature because there's a new change to the dash on the newer Spyder models. The original dash worked with what's called BRP Connect, and that integrated into the what I call the dash infotainment system on the bike. It was quirky at first. You had to not only have the phone unlocked, but the app open. The problem is when you open up another map app while you're in the dash, that becomes the app open and on top. So when you stop for gas, you've got to remember to switch back to the BRP Connect app. That changed, and you could then just have the phone unlocked. You didn't have to have any apps open. Well, now there's a new app, and it's called BRP Go. Version 2. It was supposed to be out October 4th. I think they had a typo because it came out early this morning, October 14th. And you have a choice of snowmobile, water, or on-road. It works for all their vehicles. And I'm going to insert a video, probably about here if I can remember to do it, showing what I had to do to set it up, going through connecting it to the bike. You have to have Bluetooth connection, you have to have the cable connection, and it's different. So basically here you can see it's there. It knows I'm using BRP Connect for on-road. You have to have it open as well as the phone unlocked. This is something I'm going to talk to BRP Connect about, or BRP Care, because when you stop, either you put it back, you take it out of the map app you're in, or whatever app you're in, or when you get gas, you have to remember to swap it back, which is a bit of a pain unless you get used to it. So I'm going to have a few words with BRP Care sometime in the next couple of days. But this is what it looks like. Of course, I have to wait for things to warm up. It's still just as slow as it used to was. But it looks a lot more like Apple CarPlay. So you have to wait for it. The reason the phone is on top of the dash, it's in a little selfie holder that's stuck as a Soche, S-O-C-H-E, adhesive pad with a tripod screw that you can screw the selfie stick phone holder onto. It just keeps it cooler. Having it in the glove box literally is too hot. I've noticed that even though it still works, when I take it out of the glove box, I could hardly see the screen because it's very hot. So I should be able to open up, and that's what the new dash looks like. You can see all of what you've got going, and I would consider that if you get more, or if more apps are added, there'll be another page. I don't know. This is Rever. It used to look a lot like what you open up on the phone, but it's been changed. So now, in order to record a route, my workaround for not having the record button is to navigate to a local gas station. And you can mute it or unmute it. If you want, you can even stop navigation, but it will continue to record. Push the joystick in and hold, and you get back out. The music, I have started it. My music starts playing. While I'm doing the video here, I'll have it silent because it makes me, I don't know, stop what I'm thinking about. But I did a video on how I set up the new you have to go through it. Has simple instructions. You don't have to get out a tutorial video and watch it. Just read what the screen says and follow it. Just connect it, open up each app and watch the phone and say okay or approve or open or whatever the pop-up says. But it's the one thing I really don't like is the fact that you have to have the app open before you start the bike. Otherwise, I think I like it. It looks cool. It looks better. You can see them all. The other problem that I have a thing about is GPS apps. Garmin and TomTom are still two of the biggest GPS devices, but their processors, I don't know about the Nuvi, but I do know that their processor might be a little faster than they used to be, but nowhere near as fast or as high performing as a smartphone processor. And my experience with GPS is that I started out with a Garmin 45, and that was a little marine GPS, about the size of one of the really old smartphones or mobile phones. It's a small brick size thing. It basically pointed me in the direction I needed to go. But it had breadcrumbs, which helped when I needed to find my way back from somewhere, like in a neighborhood. And then I got a Garmin 3, and then a 3 Plus, and then a 5. They were little 1-inch by like 2.5-inch screens, monochrome, and all they had was highways and freeways, no surface streets. The 5, I can remember where I can plug it into a computer, put a CD-ROM in, and upload sections of map data if I were gonna go somewhere and I needed to find the address. So I could put in, the spot, and it would actually add more map detail, but it was very limited to how much. In the meantime, a friend of mine got a Garmin Street Pilot, and he spent $1,200 on it, and I, for the life of me, said, I'm not spending that much money on a GPS. But I did have a pocket PC, a compact iPad pocket PC. And there was a company out of New Zealand called Navman, and you could slide the pocket PC down into the sleeve that had a big antenna, I mean literally just slightly bigger than my thumb. And with the software on it and the map data on it, it was pretty good. It was color, and if I wired it into the bike sound system, back then we didn't have Bluetooth, I could hear it, and it was in color. Garmin's are water resistant, or water, I'm not sure what the difference is, but this thing wasn't even water. It didn't like water at all, so I really had to make sure it didn't get wet. I had that for about 2 years. Then the GPS antenna started to fizzle, and I got a compact flash Jeep satellite receiver antenna in a sleeve, and that worked. And then I decided to try TomTom. I got 2 different TomToms over about 4 years, and I found that creating a route on the device was so much more convenient. I mean, I had time sometimes when I was traveling, I was in a hotel room, there really wasn't much to watch on TV, so I played with it and I taught myself how to make routes on the device. I stopped using Tyre, Tyre. I still use Microsoft Streets and Trips on the odd occasion, but that was when I had my laptop with me. Back then, laptops were about 10 pounds. And I really got into it to a point that when Apple came out with the iPhone 3G, which was in 2008, I was thrilled to bits. Didn't have to have any of that other stuff, just the phone. I bought the Garmin app. It was $60. I eventually got the TomTom app. I'm not sure which I bought first. But Garmin is no longer available, and as of last year, no longer supported. But TomTom is still out there, and it still works, although not as robust as Cygic or Genius Maps is these days. They've really come a long way with these two apps, and it's not that hard to figure out. You just, I believe the new Garmin Nuvi, you can make a route and then add waypoints similar to the way Cygic and Genius work. And they work in the dash, and you don't have to add any extra clutter, although I have a bit of clutter. I carry a CB radio when I don't have a GoPro session. I wish I didn't, but these things don't come with CB radios. And don't get me started on Bluetooth. But there are many that don't want to pay for GPS, but what you get with Waze and Google Maps is there's also advertising. I've used either or two, and I sometimes have found myself using Apple Maps. And when I get to an intersection, I get an ad popping up. And I don't need that. And if you're in the middle of nowhere, like one of my favorite places to visit is Death Valley. And I mean, there is no cell service unless you're in Furnace Creek or in Beatty, Nevada. Otherwise, no cell service. So unless you've got a route already set up, your Waze and Google Maps is not going to work. For people back east, if you look at a cell phone coverage map, you'll find that it's pretty much all solid coverage. But out west in Nevada, Colorado, Utah, Wyoming, Idaho, it's not 100%. And I live in the Bay Area. You would think that it would be 100% here. It is not. I can get into the Santa Cruz Mountains and find myself no longer listening to my satellite radio because it's not getting a signal. So I have to really seriously consider using an app that has downloaded map data. It's so much easier. And Cygic is $30 a year, unless you catch it on sale. And you get everything. You get heads-up display if you want to use it in your car. Traffic, you get everything. And people have gotten used to using Garmin's, they've gotten used to using Google Maps or Waze, and you don't want to have to learn something new. But with technology, it's a no-brainer. Technology doesn't take a snooze button. Believe me, as soon as they come out with something, they're working on something newer. And if you don't keep up with technology, you're missing out. So out of it. Okay, so here's a problem. Okay, it did work. I just pushed the joystick down. Okay, I see. So if I go into side jig again and push the joystick in and hold, it doesn't do it. But what does happen is when I push the joystick down, it takes me to the next icon. That's interesting. Let me go into Phobo. There's my Spyder. I can check my tire pressure. I know my rear is low, so I'm not going to show it. But if I push the joystick up, no, it's not getting me out of Phobo. It seems there are a few hiccups. So, okay, I did push the joystick in. That did not take me out of the app, but when I pushed the joystick down, that did take me out of the app the second time. The first time I pushed the joystick down, it didn't, but the second time it did. So maybe I need to signal it. Okay, here's another reason to call BRP Care and tell them what the hell. So if I'm in Rever and I push the joystick down, I'm not going to get much other than information about where I am. But if I push the joystick in and hold, and then push the joystick down, it takes me out of the app to the next app. Interesting. You used to be able to, and I don't see Apple Music. That's interesting. I just noticed. I have Dash Radio, but that's the only music I see. I don't see Apple Music. But I know I'm playing Apple Music because I started it before I put it on, I turned the bike on. So it seems that maybe you can play any music you want, but controlling it is this way. And all you can really do is advance to the next song or play the last one again. Because you really couldn't do much with the app in the dash unless you were stopped. And then you could switch from one playlist to another. But with Dash Radio, you can actually manipulate to different favorites or whatever type of music you want to listen to. So that's there, but Apple Music isn't. That's interesting. So I'm going to open up, got a camera in front of me so I can't see the screen real good. But I'm going to open up Genius. If I push the joystick in and hold, nothing happens. But if I push the joystick down, it takes me out of the app to the next app. So there is a bit of a change. It's let's put it this way. It means that in order to learn how to use it, you're gonna have to get on the bike and go for a ride. Find yourself a nice little picnic area someplace. Take a picnic lunch and then sit on the bike and play with it. and get used to it, get familiar with it, and then get on the bike and ride and find a nice quiet road where it's you can actually look down on the dash once in a while and just see what happens when you push the joystick up and down. So far, I figured it out. It's not that hard. I think I'm gonna like it. Although I am gonna talk to BRP Care about a few things. But that's it. Bye.